So Becky Hammon has responded to the Sandy Brondello suspension. And let's be very clear. Like, I think everyone in the WNBA, are walking on eggshells with this situation. They are walking on eggshells. I think every single player believes that this was bullshit. I think every single player, especially, by the way, every single non-American in this league thinks this is complete bullshit. Everyone who speaks another language, everyone who's not from America where there's different slang, they have said everyone who's ever or who, not in America, who speaks with local slang anywhere that might be deemed as offensive by somebody. And because Angel Reese put it out on Twitter and called Sandy Brondello a clown, she got suspended. Let's be very real. If Angel Reese doesn't tweet that, Sandy Brondello does not get suspended. And everyone's like, Angel Reese has handled this whole thing with grace. She called the person a clown and made sure she quote tweeted the tweet where they misquoted Sandy Brondello. They misquoted Sandy Brondello. And she made sure of all the things with the actual thing that Sandy Brondello said. She made sure that she called Sandy Brondello a clown in a response to a misquote of Sandy Brondello. That is when you know. That's how you know where it's like, okay, yeah, this is, I don't even know what the point of this is. But anyway, let's take a listen to Becky Hammon.
I just gave her a big hug when I saw her. I know that's...
I need to caption this. Full screen, so hopefully you guys can see the captions. It's very, very low. The volume is very low. I do apologize.
I just gave her a big hug when I saw her. I know that's not where her heart is. I know her as a very, very high quality person, someone that's filled with a lot of love for everyone. And so I know she's been probably pretty tore up and crushed about the whole situation. So she'll bounce back. I know she's resilient. It's just unfortunate. I mean, everything that's kind of going around the league. I'd like to get back to sports uniting people.
And yeah, I think if we're being real here, Becky Hammon's basically just said, yeah, all the bullshit that's happening in the league. And some people are like, oh, is that a knock on Caitlin Clark? At the end of the day, if you're a coach, you're just like, what the fuck's going on? Anything you could say. And by the way, she's probably thinking to herself, she got caught in a hot mic calling Caitlin Clark a drama queen. And let's be very clear, the league could not have deemed what Sandy Brondello said to have been racist, because if they did, she'd be fired. So the league deemed it controversial. So now, suddenly they set the precedent that her being caught in a hot mic a week ago, saying that Caitlin Clark's a drama queen, suddenly now, if she does something like that again, it's going to be a massive thing. And she's like, probably from her perspective, I actually just can't use basketball lingo anymore. I can't use basketball talk. Like what the hell is going on? You have to be careful about every single thing you say, every single thing you do. And obviously, it's complete bullshit. Sandy Brondello, and he was like, it has to be tough on Sandy Brondello. Of course it is. Of course it's tough. Could you imagine saying something? And again, this is the equivalent of two Spanish people speaking to each other in Spanish and saying, I don't know, someone saying, I like your shoes, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm getting them, I'm getting another pair in black. And somebody overhearing them and believing that they've called somebody a racist insult. If we're being very clear, it is the equivalent of that. It is the equivalent of that. And we're being real. Every single person in this league that is not named Angel Reese knows this is bullshit. They know this is bullshit. And hilariously, around the league, this is going to do nothing but probably knock Angel's reputation, because it's one thing if you're accusing, because around the league, Caitlin Clark fans bad is a thing. You can accuse Caitlin Clark fans of literally doing and saying anything you want, and it will be doubled down and tripled down by the WNBA, who can't stand anyone that wasn't a fan before 2024, as well as the players in the league. Problem is, Angel, you went after maybe the nicest human being in the league. You went after one of the most beloved human beings in the league for nothing. For no reason. And like you can see, not one person has... If this was actual... By the way, if Sandy Brondello actually said something racist, there's not one person... And by the way, nobody has called out Angel Reese because they're never going to do that. That's not something that's going to happen. Because that would create a whole other shit show. However, this is the second person that has very much implied that she basically like, I want sports to unite people. I want sports to go back to uniting people. Don't we all? Don't we all? And that's the thing where it's like, I'm always happy with this WNBA shit that like, this is one of those things where all I do is like, I'll talk with the WNBA and in my real life, it goes back to sports where I get to play with people from all areas of the world and that are linked by, you know, a common love for a game. When I switch off my computer and get away from WNBA, that's what real life is. So I'm like, at the end of the day, this type of bullshit is annoying. Of course it is, and it's a bigger problem for Becky Hammon because there is no off switch. There's no off switch. And let's be real. Everything is like... People are saying there's a shot at Caitlin Clark for bringing the other stuff. If I'm being clear right here, like, not one person is bringing Caitlin Clark into this conversation, nor is Becky Hammon in this one here. And I think everyone knows that Sandy Brondello's suspension was complete bullshit. And that it was a complete overreaction and potentially malicious overreaction by Angel Reese. No one's going to ever say that as part of the league. Let's be very clear. No one is ever going to say that. And again, we don't know. We can't go into the mind of Angel Reese. But like, to refuse to speak to Sandy Brondello and then come out 48 hours later and still accuse her of being racist, like, come on now. Come on. But anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. That is the video. See you guys. And all around, this is just an awful situation. And you're like, if any of you guys are like me, we see all the stuff in this league, you're like, why is this bigger story than the basketball? And it is. That is the biggest problem, I think, with all this, is that this has become a bigger story than the basketball. And it's at the stage now where it's not even as fun anymore. Because there's not even that kind of like the 2024 level intrigue anymore. Like in 2024, it felt like somehow there were more basketball stories. I remember coming to 2025 season, I was like, yeah, this should be the full season of basketball and less bullshit, but really it wasn't. It wasn't. And now 2026 season has been 80% bullshit, 20% basketball. And that's the problem. That's the problem, is we didn't even realize how quick. Obviously, we know with sports culture, it's always to build you up to tear you down. We didn't realize how quick to tear you down was going to come. But anyway, I'll see you guys.